All right, welcome back, everybody. So I have Larry Frawley here. So Larry, just want to say thank you so much for being here and willing to be coached on a podcast. So we really appreciate that, this opportunity, this unique opportunity. But just thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you. This is Pete. This is one of the highlights of my year. I will tell you that. And that's not being funny.
Bar's kind of set
actually,
low, Larry.
No. That's actually being very, very truthful. So awesome.
All right. So I prepped the audience before you came on that we're going to do kind of a coaching session. So just go back a little bit. So you when did you join NARPM? When did you buy the company, the property management firm? And then most importantly, why did you get into this crazy business? Why did you want to be a property manager when you had 20 years of brokerage experience?
Yeah, there you go. All great questions. So my wife and I, Alice, we bought the company back in June of 2022. And ironically, it was a company, Pete, that was at my brokerage here now before my path around the system. Back actually when you guys, part of Empire, was here, I guess before that, when I was over in South Carolina. So ironically, and that company got sold, and then it got sold again to me. And I bought it with just 19 properties in it. Fast forward now, we're 30. Well, we were 38 properties, and then I've excelled in the property management business that I've actually got to be able to fire a client. So now we're at 37 properties, and I can sleep a little better at night. So
that's like 3.7% of your business, buddy.
There you go. It was, sometimes you just got to do that. So, but yeah, so the brokerage business, and ironically, so I was here the first time. In fact, my wife and I, we were leaving, we were going to Dallas, and I actually had Steve, your partner, come down and actually go through our home as we were thinking about, should we put it in property management?
Oh, so you were almost a client.
We were almost a client. Yeah. And we did decide to sell. And I kicked myself in the hind end for that one, because that was just a great home. Certainly as we came back around again. But that kind of got the bug going for me on the property management side of things. And I looked into a couple of the franchises that were out there. And then I got relocated, like I said, to Dallas first time, and then Charleston, South Carolina, second time. And then I started looking at it at Charleston also. I'm like, And then ironically, 2 weeks before COVID hit, I got to come back to Houston, because my wife and I, we said, we're done moving around. We love Houston. We're glad we got back here. So that got me going on the property management side of things again. That original property management company sold it to another company, but asked me, I said, hey, I'd be interested in buying it. Well, then about a year and a half passed later, and then I was able to go back in and actually purchase the company. So
what was the allure? Because like I said, you had 20 years experience of being in brokerages. You've been moved all over the country to basically help run big brokerages across the country. What was the allure of, owning a property management firm?
That's great. I think a lot of that is the consistency. And what I mean by that is, real estate markets go up and they go down, right? And, so if on the sales side of things, you're like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to sell another home again? On the brokerage side, everything is managed on expenses. Property management, in all my research, it stayed consistent, in good markets and in bad markets. In fact, maybe sometimes in bad markets a little bit better, because now we got more renters out there. So that was the allure for that. The other part was, it's something we're still going to need to manage every day, but it's something that we can go off into a slower kind of retirement thing. I did turn 65, so a little bit of on the retirement side of things, and still own a property management company. Of course, our goal is not to stay at 37 properties. Our goal is to be at 337 or 537 properties. So
yeah, and I'll give you one more reason why you should buy, own, build a property management firm is it's a sellable asset.
Yeah,
when you're just slinging real estate, you don't really have a sellable asset.
There's, and I don't want to say it in a bad way, there's not a lot of value in ownership of a brokerage, because you can't own an agent, right? You can't. But yeah, you're exactly right. On the property management side, it is an asset.
Okay. So you're kind of new to the game. You're doing wonderful already. You've already learned how to buy a property management firm, I'll bet a small one, and now you've grown a little bit. So for somebody at 38 doors and somebody who's new, what are you looking at? What's some guidance, some questions that you may have that maybe I can help, or people at NARPM can help, or just what are some stuff that you like to learn?
I like that. One of the things that I did that was the greatest thing was joining NARPM, because when you get into a different field, even in real estate, like you don't understand all of the verbiage, like what's a KPI, and then I go, hey Siri, what's I have no idea what those things are, but it was the research of that and the support of that system. Our local chapter here is a great organization. So
yeah, I tell anybody, if you're looking at getting into property management, if you can find NARPM, that's the first thing you should do, right? Join NARPM. So, okay. So now let's get into the nuts and bolts. What are some of the things you're challenged? What are some of the challenges you have? What are some of the things that I can help with?
Awesome. So you and I spoke just a little bit, but I said, one of the things that, we're in that pattern of growth right now, my wife and I, and Alice is my wife, by the way. Bless her heart. She's stayed around with me for some years, and Larry wants to go here. Larry wants to move there. She's right on board.
That's key number one, having a great business, by the way.
It is. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is. I think it's, my next step is hiring. I run a brokerage which involves about 55 hours or so a weekend. A lot of my property management side is my wife. She's managing a lot of that. My weekends are that. So my next step really is a sales kind of leasing manager. And, I am already looking spoke with Leon all about, VPN, solution.
So let me ask you though here.
Okay.
So right now in the company, 38 units that you're managing, all single family, I'm guessing.
Yes.
All right. And right now it's just you and Alice in the company. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And Alice is doing the majority of the work.
She's doing the majority, certainly, of the maintenance side of things. I'm still running kind of the books side of things, kind of the sales, kind of the marketing.
So the first question I'm going to ask you is, do you have an organizational chart built for the property management firm as it stands today?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. And I will say this, I've done that with the brokerage side of things, but when I had the opportunity to jump on this one, I did not do that.
So you are wearing multiple hats, and so is Alice. You guys are wearing multiple hats, right? And so a lot, I actually had to talk with a buddy of mine. He's a solopreneur, so he's like, he doesn't have an org chart because he just has one box, him. And I'm like, you're missing the picture.
Yeah,
the picture is you have to put all those boxes. It's not Larry, and then Larry does all this. It's, I have a leasing assistant, I have a leasing manager, I have a maintenance coordinator, I have a property manager, whatever it is. You need to build that structure. So this way, as you grow, you can identify what are the next roles that you want to fill in your business.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that was probably a key mistake back in the beginning, right? Just doing that right away. I'm like, hey, no, this is something we can just do on our own, but yeah, it is, because it's, it's really, it's got the potential to be a very, very big business.
So I'm a big fan of the book Traction by Gino Wickman, and NARPM is a big fan of that book as well. Okay. Gino Wickman created something called the EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. A lot of NARPM members run their business on it. It's a great little tool. And one of the things he discusses, he calls it an accountability chart. I just call it an org chart. But he says you should build the org chart the way it looks like today. You should build the org chart for like what it looks like in 5 years. And then you should build the org chart for when the company is finished. So one of the things that most people don't do when they start a business is they don't understand the complete vision. A lot of us get into it because we couldn't actually sell the houses and we had to lease them. And then our clients would ask us to manage them. That's how a lot of us got into the business. I got into business the other way, where I was an investor and I was tired of management companies not managing my property correctly, right? Because I didn't find NARPM, luckily I didn't find NARPM vendors, because I probably would never have started a management company.
Yeah.
But you never start with the vision in mind, the end in mind, right? So you want to build your org chart for what that looks like. What is your vision? Now, I know you're a little bit older, so maybe your vision is I just want to get to X number of properties in Houston, right? And so with our Vision Empire, at first it was like, I just want to get to 300 properties because I heard that was where you're profitable. Then I'm like, okay, we got 300 and our profit margin is really slim. Let's get to 600. Let's get to 1,000. Then it got to we want to be in all of Texas. Then it got to we want to be all over the country, and the vision needs to, it can change over time, but it should be, it should be big, and you should be able to build that org chart based on that vision. Now, trying to build an org chart for 100,000 units across the country, good luck. I don't know how the guys at Mind and Pure are doing that. That's way beyond my capacity. But by and the org chart doesn't have to be perfect. It's really just to get you to think outside the box on how big this thing should be and what does that look like. Now, I will tell you, when you are smaller, you're going to be portfolio based. And what does that mean? It means that one person is doing everything or two people are doing everything, right? So Alice, she might be, we call it the head cook and bottle washer, but in the E-Myth Revisited by Dr. Gerber, but really Alice is the property manager, the maintenance manager. She's maybe doing the tenant residence, lease renewals, right? So she's doing everything, right? Everything comes in and out. And then your side is you might be doing you're doing all the leasing and you're doing the book. So you're the accounting person, the leasing person, the move-in person, maybe the move-out person, right? So that's called portfolio based, right? So in theory, I have one property manager. I manage 100 units. That's all we have, and I do everything, right? I'm a solopreneur, right? Which, by the way, it's still a sellable business, but you're not going to get as much as if the business was running on its own, unless somebody's going to fold you in, right? Somebody, a big company like Pure comes in and buys you. They don't really want you. They want the doors. They don't want your processes. They want the doors. When you bought the 19 units, right, you wanted the processes and probably not the person, but because, but you get it, right?
Correct.
So it's important to know, like, that's the first step, right? So it's going to be hard to build an org chart that uses that same, portfolio based when you're going to have, let's say your vision's 1,000 doors, right? Whatever that vision is. The next step is you go to hybrid. And so hybrid is just that, right? So now let's say you do, you use let's say you use VPM solutions and you hire a great remote team member, and that remote team member is going to do, what are you guys looking to hire for? What's the first position you're looking to hire?
I've called it sales and leasing.
Okay. So sales and leasing. So tell me a little bit more about what that role would do.
So I think, probably in the real estate world, I think there's opportunities like expired listings. I subscribe to a service that does that. So, listing comes expired, somebody else maybe has bought something. There may be an opportunity there to manage a property.
They're going to be kind of like your cold callers, appointment setters.
Cold callers, right? Exactly right.
And how do they help on the leasing? Same thing. They're reaching out.
Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. And I think there's, literally we could go through every listing that's out there for a lease and quickly look in a particular area, know which ones are potential property management ones.
Ones that are not managed by property managers, and one that are managed by realtors that have no idea what they're doing. Once they lease the property, they should probably get over to a property manager.
Correct. And I handle, the nice part is being part of a brokerage is, I have a lot of internal people that can't manage properties, really not allowed to manage properties. Yep. So I've got kind of that, I don't want to say captive audience, but I've got an audience of people, and that's primarily where all of our doors come from right now. It's just agent referrals.
I think that's brilliant. And if you're listening to this, so you own the property management firm and you're the broker of the property management firm, not Keller Williams. Is that correct?
That's correct.
If you can get a deal like that, and you can office out of a Keller Williams, a Remax, anywhere where they have, you have 600 agents, you said?
Correct.
Okay.
Over 600.
You're going to be a pretty big player in Houston within the next 2 years, just even if you did nothing else, right? And the fact that you're looking to grow already. Now, what's going to happen with your company, Larry, is you're going to outgrow your processes pretty quickly.
Correct.
Right. And so that's the dichotomy of hey, I'm going to grow this thing. Oh, now I break stuff. And now I have, instead of you firing clients, clients fire you, right? Because you're kind of the cracks are falling through.
Exactly.
I will say the org chart again, and the structure that you put in play is going to be the biggest savior or hurt, if you will, hurdle, if you will, when you grow. Like right now, 38 properties up to, let's call it 125. Portfolio with a couple of assistants, right? That's kind of a hybrid is going to work. At some point, you're going to have to go to departmental, or you have to go to pod structure. So those are the next two org charts that you will. As a CEO, you are responsible for the organizational structure, the culture, the resources. Those are three of the, those are three main things, and the strategy. Those are the four things the CEO is responsible for, right? So if you're listening to this and you can keep your ownership of your PM firm, and you can office, even if Keller Williams charge you a couple $100, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, it's going to be worth it, because they are just going to basically have all the agents basically look at you first and you'll be top of mind. And so you're going to grow your business pretty rapidly. I got a good buddy of mine, a shout out to Greg Deering. He has built a company with, I think it was 900 units before he sold, in Round Rock and Austin, Texas. And he operated out of a Keller Williams office out there in Round Rock. So
it's like today, tomorrow I've got one of my agents that's teaching a leasing class, and she has asked for, my property management flyer for everybody that's in the class, right? So they've got even more information on that, because once again, agents, there's some that go, hey, I can manage properties. Well, you're not really allowed to manage properties, right? There's a whole process. Texas is not, there's more lawsuits in Texas and for property management side of things than anything else. So,
yeah. Okay. So, all right. So give me the next thing. What's the next thing you're looking at? So I think that's a great idea to hire this, a virtual, by the way, why virtual assistant over one of your agents to do this?
I think it's some of it's kind of the cost right in the beginning, and yeah, I mean, an agent, they're going to get paid mostly on the commission side of things, but yet they can make more money in traditional real estate sales. And I'm not saying that I'm opposed to doing that at some point in time, but I think we need certainly some more doors where, virtually. I was telling you in another conversation, we have virtual ones that are in here out of the Philippines that work for us. And there's about 9 of them that do transaction side of things. So, so I believe in that process. The next step really is probably it's marketing, marketing, and then internally on ours right now, I'm interviewing a bookkeeper. I was telling you, I think in a brief conversation, the bookkeeper that I had was kind of decided to leave on January 30th, and I had to run around trying to figure out how to do all the rest of that stuff, and it's just not in my wheelhouse. So I guess my org chart would have been a little bit better to have at that point in time. But
so hey, at least maybe you got something out of this conversation.
I know. So marketing really and bookkeeper. I think those are probably the next 2 things.
Okay. So what's going to be your budget for marketing? What's your investment per month in marketing?
Ideally, I mean, part of it's going to be, part of it would be the expired listing service. Part of it is,
that could fall under sales. No,
that could fall under sales.
So it's funny.
Social media, I think social media, I say, I'm an older guy here, but I realized, when people said, I can sell a house on Facebook, I'm like, you can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. So, so better.
Let me ask you this. Do you have an agent referral program? Somebody brings you a door?
I do.
All right. So let's talk about marketing. So I'm a big fan of marketing and sales are separate. They're separate in my org chart. There's separate personality types. If you're into disc, your marketing guy is going to be a C. Your sales guy is going to be an I. If you're not in the disc, I'm sure there's the Archer or whatever they use, or the red, green, blue, whatever it is.
But yeah, DI right here, DI.
You're a DI, right? So you're a closer. Love it. So when I look at it like this, you need to know how much you can invest in marketing or in sales. by hiring a salesperson first, the inside salesperson, and making those calls, and by having your office in Keller Williams, you actually don't have to spend a lot in marketing. You really don't, because you're going to get deals both of those ways. Now, marketing obviously is incredibly important, but somebody who's making 38 units, I can't imagine you're bringing a ton of revenue in right now.
Not yet.
And so you have marketing, unfortunately, typically means money. It typically means you have to invest the money, and then you have to be able to capture the leads. So I guess my first question is, how much do you plan to invest in marketing on a monthly basis? So that's the first question. And the second question is, what are the strategies you're going to use for marketing? And then the third question is, what are the lead count that you're forecasting for each of those strategies? So how many leads a month are you looking to get, Larry, from your marketing, not from sales, but from the marketing?
Yeah. So ideally, if we could get, let's just say 20 leads a month, right?
Okay. In total.
Yeah, 20 leads a month. And I base that on, some of the platforms that we use around here on the sales sides of things. So if we had just 20, and there's not going to be 100% conversion on those, but they are opportunities. Right now, our marketing budget would be less than $500 a month, right? That's realistically, where we go for this current time, right? Not to say that's forever thing. So, and you're right, probably even when I was in real estate sales, 93% of my business, came from referrals, right? So I work those referrals pretty hard. So.
Yeah, in my experience, when we got a referral from an agent, we closed that person, I think it was like over 80% of the time.
Yeah.
So what we did is we defined what a lead was and what an opportunity was. Okay. For us, a lead was basically anybody that came inbound. That's a lead. An opportunity was anybody who came inbound that had a property that we wanted to manage within the next 90 days. That was our definition of opportunity. And so, so basically, hey, I'm calling because I'm thinking about buying a house one day, and I just want to make sure like that I have a management company I want to talk about. Right? You're a lead, but you're really not an opportunity. Or I come in and, hey, I have a 14-unit apartment complex I want you guys to manage, not in our wheelhouse, right? So like, no, that's a lead, not an opportunity. Or, hey, I'm moving out of town in the next 60 days, and I need somebody to lease and manage my property. Now you're an opportunity. So we define those. And why is that important? Because one is, if you're not getting a lot of opportunities, your marketing message is off. You're not hitting the right target. So you want to make sure that whatever money you invest in marketing, and notice I keep using the word invest, not spend.
Correct.
I was a culprit of spending money in marketing. And when you spend money in marketing, what you're doing is you're just throwing stuff up against the wall. It's a NARPM podcast, Larry, so we can't.
I got it.
Are not allowing me to curse. But you're throwing stuff up against the wall, right? Yes. And you're not tracking it. And so so that's spending money, right? When you have your marketing plan, I'm glad you brought this up because this is something that I actually got dialed in at Empire, and I have not dialed in at my new company, VPM, yet. And we're still working very diligently to get these numbers, right? But you need to know how many leads come in. So ultimately, you want to know this, right? And it takes a little while to get there, but ultimately, you want to know every strategy you've invested money in, okay? Whether it's a Facebook ad, a Google ad, a campaign for for real estate agents, whether it's going to speak and it costs you a little bit of money for speaking engagements, maybe doing a CE class, whatever that is, you want to have those strategies down, and you want to have a chart of account for each one of those strategies in your QuickBooks. Because I want to know how much I spent, not just in marketing, but each strategy in marketing. From there, I want to know how many leads I got. So now, how do I capture that? Well, now the importance of, I'm probably not teaching you this, but a CRM system, right? It's important that you have a CRM system that can track if it's a lead or an opportunity. So you actually have to do some manipulation. Say, is this a lead or an opportunity, right? And then from there, you can then determine how much money at the end of the month, how much money did I spend on each strategy? How many leads did I get? How many opportunities did I get? And then what's the dollar amount? And then what's my percentage of opportunities from leads? So if I run a campaign and I've got 50 leads, but 25 of them were opportunities, well, that's pretty good. That's 50%. And then you can start tweaking the message to how do I get that to 52%, 55? Because even 1% makes a huge difference. Like a lot of people think, oh, I need to be, 20, 30% more. Right now, just changing things at a couple percent. If you do multiple things at 1 or 2%, it's exponential in the difference in how your business runs. And so you have to know how to track all this stuff, right? And then, of course, once you get the opportunity, then it goes into the sales pipeline, so to speak. And then you have your sales numbers, right? So, for example, let's say I'm working for your company and I'm doing the marketing, and I send out a Facebook ad, and we get 10 people reach out. We talk to them, and 5 of them have houses that we want to manage. So we got 50% conversion rate on lead to opportunity. So you're going to talk as the salesperson, you're going to obviously talk to the 5 opportunities first and foremost. Now, will you convert some leads? Yeah, we'll convert some leads for sure, but that's going to be really low percentage. You really want to focus on converting opportunities because they convert at a higher rate. To give you real numbers, at Empire, we got it to a 50% conversion from leads to opportunities. We, when we dialed back our investment in marketing and we stopped spending, we went from about 150 leads to about 100 leads. But here's the crazy thing: our opportunity stayed the same.
Wow.
So we had 50 opportunities at 150 leads, and we had 50 opportunities at 100 leads. So we went from whatever that difference is, right? We went to 50%. So we went from 25% or 30% to 50%.
Just a lot less money.
Just a lot less money. So that meant my cost per lead and my cost per opportunity trended way down. My cost per lead at the end was, I think it was like $75. Like your numbers here, you want to do a $25 cost per lead, which is really, really, that's going to be hard to do. But if anybody can do it, I believe you can do it because you have the connection.
Well, thank you.
Well, you have the connection with Keller Williams. And so that's going to help you get lots of leads with not a lot of money. And then, our cost per opportunity went down. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I wish I did now, but I can tell you my cost per acquisition at one point was like $3,500, and I got it down to like $200.
Nice.
So that's a huge difference. But it took us a while to get there because we had to know our numbers, and we had to get our bookkeeper to work with our marketing guy, to work with our sales team.
Yeah.
And then as you grow and you have more and more team members, it gets a little bit more difficult. So,
yeah. And it was funny, back in the beginning, real quick, I said, I want to own a property management company. I want to build it from scratch. I want to have nobody. And then all of a sudden the opportunity came up. You know how that goes sometimes. The opportunity came up all of a sudden to buy this company. So I wasn't really ready by no means. I thought I had a little more time to build some, the models and the systems. And next thing you know, there's 19 properties with, security deposits rolling in and contracts rolling in. And, we got to talk to people. So I love, and once again, DI, I love doing that stuff like that. So now the nice part is kind of slowing down just a little bit, just to kind of get the systems going. So today's call was really, just so really good for me.
So yeah, so what are, the next thing really is going to be the systems. So what's your strategies on building your systems and documenting your systems? Is it too early to document systems? Is it never too early? What's your take?
It's probably never too early to document all your systems. I always tell people here, I'm the CEO of the company here, but if I walk out across the street and get hit by a bus, I don't want people going, what did he do? Right. So it's just always having those systems lined up where here's what he does. Boom, 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 boom. And everybody on staff has the same thing just in case something would happen. So no different for the property management side of things, what our systems are, what they do. Just in the process now, we've tried a financial system, that was property management, and get ready to switch over in the next month to something new and different, something a little bit more easy, in my opinion, at least for me, because I'm just not that, I'm not the accountant, by no means. So
Yeah, choosing the right property management software
yeah,
is paramount for sure. There's no one size fits all, and there's no perfect PM software. So you
right.
do have to rank and rate what is most important to you, and then go with that one, right? The only thing I would say is make sure like that this one can grow with your vision. That's the main thing.
Correct.
Can it grow with your vision?
Yep.
I'm going to give a couple of shout outs here. So I'm a big fan of what Lead Simple is doing. They're a new software. Well, they're not new anymore, but they have a new product that will help you automate your operations. And they were always doing the automation for CRM, and they were a CRM system, and now they're doing it for operations. And I've seen the software a couple of times. It looks really cool, but I've talked to lots of people who use them, and it's really functional, and that's the main thing. So, as you, I would say, you're in a unique opportunity that you can start building your systems with automation early on, and then just tweak them as you grow. Now, of course, that costs money, and it really just depends. Will you be cash negative if you would? If you can't afford it, great. Um, I'm an operations guy, so I'm a DC. I'm an operations guy,
Yeah.
and I love flow charts, process flows, and things of that nature. And when I first started Empire, there was no such thing as Lead Simple. There was no automation. It was paper checklists, and then we found Microsoft. Oh man, what was it called? But we had this Microsoft like online checklist thing. Then we went to HubSpot, and we used the folks at RentBridge for a while and did some automation, some ticketing.
Yes.
I will say this: the quicker you can get on a ticketing system instead of using email to manage your property management firm, and the quicker you can get onto automation. Now, here's a trick. My buddy Errol Allen with EA Consulting, highly recommend him. Errol says, before you automate, you need to process flow all your processes out, because garbage in, garbage out. If you don't know exactly what's going on, and again, you're unique, you're a young business, you guys are doing everything, so you know everything that's going on. When I started this, I had 12 people working for me already, and I'm like, oh, maybe we should document our systems, right? Like that was like aha moment. So you're unique, you can do this. So you build your systems from scratch, build those checklists, and then put them into something like Lead Simple, and then build the automation. And so that's kind of one thing I wish I had go back and kind of redo. And then I would say if I'm again a big fan of EA Consulting. He helps you build your process flows. And then I'll throw one more shout out to Deb Newell with Real Time Consulting. She's probably as a property management business coach, she's solid. I won't say she's the best, because I think there are others out there, but I know Deb personally, and I know some of the work she's done, some of the people she's worked with, and she gets great results. So step one is find NARPM and get plugged into NARPM. All right, when you're new to the business, NARPM is probably not just the number one place for resources, but NARPM is the number one place to find like-minded individuals who have already walked the path you're walking. Then number two is, set up automation or document your systems, and get ready for growth and with automation if you can. Number three is, I love what you're doing. Find ways to grow the business, inside salesperson, some marketing, make sure that you invest instead of spend. Step four is look at VPM solutions as a solution for great team members at a lower cost. Also, not a lot of people know this. I'll give us another plug. VPM Solutions has what's called the VPM Academy. And we have, I think now we're at 25 courses. Most of them are for remote team members that can get certifications. We have a Property Management 101 series of 12 courses. And now we have courses for the company. So I have one on how to successfully hire, train, and manage a remote team. We have one on leadership. We got more coming out every month. We have more coming out, and so it's a great it's a great platform for resources. And of course, you don't have to pay to be on the VPN platform. And so those are, and then of course, if you need coaching, instead of hiring an agnostic business coach, which was helpful. I had an agnostic business coach when I started Empire, and it's incredibly helpful. But getting a business coach like a Deb Newell that is in the property manager, right? Like, how many business coaches are there for the real estate industry?
Oh gosh.
Tons.
Endless.
There's a few here in a management firm and in a PM company. And if you go to our website, vpmsolutions.com, we actually have a resources and vendors page, and you can see all the business coaches there. I just plug Deb because I just know her personally. She does not pay to be on here and all that good stuff. So, yeah. All right, Larry, I can sit here and we can do this.
Oh, I could do this all day long. Yeah, I've locked my door so nobody walks in and interrupts us, but I could do it all day long.
But we got to take a break, and then we're going to come back for the lightning round. And we'll be right back, everybody. All right, welcome back, everybody. I got Larry's on the hot seat in the lightning round. So, Larry, hopefully you took some good notes, and hopefully you listening got some value out of this, and hopefully I didn't lead too many people astray. So, all right, Larry, let's go with the lightning round. What PM software do you use?
We're just switching over now to PayProp.
PayProp. Okay. We already talked about your organizational structure, and all right. So, what is one piece of advice you'd give someone just starting out in the PM business, kind of like yourself?
Yeah, I think just looking at all of the resources, having lots of conversations, with those, join NARPM right away. I think that right there, will certainly help your property management business get off to a great start.
All right, this next question will determine if we remain friends or not. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
So ironically, we just got pizzas on Friday, and I stopped on the way home and picked up 2 pizzas. I picked up one that's deluxe, that's mine. I picked up one that's pineapple, that's Alice's. So does pineapple belong on pizza for me? No.
All right, we can be friends, but tell Alice, she can only be an acquaintance.
I love it.
What was your first job?
Very first job was picking sweet corn out in a 300-acre field up in Ohio. Right. That was my first job. Yeah.
All right, we need to have drinks and talk about that one. What is your ideal vacation?
We have a little timeshare in Panama City, Florida, that we just love. It's just a nice little escape for us, just to kind of get away for a week and kind of unplug a little bit. So,
what is something that most people don't know about you?
So I ran for politics up in Ohio. I ran for a city council position, and I lost by a little less than 800 votes. And I always said, had I won, I would still be in Ohio. Not that there's anything wrong with that, except my opportunities in life and in leadership really happened after that point in time, in my move to Texas and then around the system.
What book are you currently reading, or what is one that's impacted your business or life?
I think one of the best books out there to read, Gary Keller wrote the book, The One Thing. And it was ironic in the podcast you'd said early on, you said something about one thing, because here's the thing, we can focus on, my focus every day is on a bunch of things and putting out fires and, rescuing.
Welcome to property management too. Yeah.
And property. Yeah, exactly. So, but what I've got to realize is I've got to still focus on one thing, what one thing in my day that by doing it, nothing else most is less significant or not even needed. Right. That's really what the key to that book. And, and of course, in real estate, in recruiting, in property management, it's all around, really for us, around lead generation.
What's your preferred, dogs or cats?
Dogs. We have them both awesome. We've rescued our second boxer, and he's an old guy like me, and he's awesome. Dogs.
All right, thank you, Larry, for being on the hot seat. If somebody wants to reach out to you and maybe join a mastermind with you, or help you, or maybe learn more about the brokerage side, because you probably forgot more about the brokerage side of things than many of us know in our lifetime here. How do people get in touch with you?
Probably easiest cell phone, 713-899-7394.
That's the I in him, folks. If it was me, you'd probably get an email address.
Yeah.
If you want to join NARPM and you haven't joined yet, what are you waiting on? Go to NARPM, NARPM.org, or call them at 800-782-3452. And if you are looking for great team members that you know, for low cost, if your business is, you know, reactive, not proactive, if you're working nights and weekends, if your team is super stressed, go to vpmsolutions.com and check us out, and reach out to me personally, Pete@vpmsolutions.com. Larry, thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time.
Thank you.